I followed my dreams and opened an antique store to have adventures and spend time as a family. Sometimes you have to climb a mountain and open some new doors to find the treasures inside. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Hey everybody, good to see you all again. Today should be a pretty interesting day. It's Saturday, it is 8 in the morning. I had to head out to a little small town just outside of Edmonton where I live here, to the town of Sherwood Park. A fellow came in the shop yesterday and said that they were left some old train sets and some other things that were their family's great uncles, and the family's not interested in hanging on to it, and that's usually where I step in, is find the cool stuff and find a new home for it. So I'm gonna head out and check this place out this morning. Let's go on today's adventure and see what we can find. So tell me about your super cool bike that we're looking at here.
Built in Winnipeg on the Air Force Base during World War II.
Yeah.
Powered by a Johnson, about 1 horsepower engine.
Okay.
Parts are readily available for these engines. This scooter was given to my dad in about the early 60s. And we use and abuse it as young boys.
Did you use it out of the lake?
At the lake.
The lake,
in,
okay.
In St. Boniface, where I grew up in St. Boniface, Manitoba.
Yeah.
So it languished out there for a while, and I brought it back here, I don't know, 10 years ago. Took it all apart, put it all back together.
It looks like brand new.
It has some unique features to it.
And so they would use this just to get around on the base?
They did.
The Air Force Base?
I guess it was designed so that it just sat like that.
Okay, yeah, so you could just lean it right over.
You could just lean it over either way, and
does it have a brand name? Like who made it?
It's home built. They built it.
They built it
The
themselves.
aircraft mechanics built it. I don't know much about the history of it. I've tried to. I have connected with the museum in Winnipeg and the museum at the Air Force Base there, but I haven't found any more information.
No file photos of some famous pilot riding it around?
No.
You've got lots of like little Z50 mini trails you're working on, the little Triumph TR4 sitting under the cover there, which looks like a fantastic car. Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Some very cool stuff. It's the standard gauge, which is the bigger size. I like the standard gauge.
Standard, not...
O is a little bit smaller, and O is what they went to for quite some time. That's what you see like the classic Lionel sets. This is standard gauge, runs on a larger track. It's between O and garden scale. And these ones aren't the super high-end ones because they don't have the little passenger seats inside and lights and things. But you can get them when they're really high-end. They're very, very detailed. So these came out of Winnipeg. A couple nice old oil cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's early because it's porcelain, and these two holes probably would have had a bracket, and then this might have been like a flange that sat up on a sign.
I just bought one. I just bought one when we were down in Palm Desert. I found it in a...
Well, yeah, if you see something, why not pick it up? That's a big box, and you've been collecting these spouts for a while.
Yeah. Well, again, it all started with one oil spout that was at the lake.
That one there?
I don't know if it was this one or not.
One like it, and then now it's turned into a box. Yeah, sure, I'll buy that off you.
Every time I found one, I would buy it, right?
Yeah, it's one of the later ones.
Yeah.
Still in the plastic. No, that's great. Yeah, guys who collect oil cans like the accessories too.
Yeah.
And you guys have had these bikes since brand new? Pretty well?
The 69, yeah, brand new. This one, my cousin bought it and sold it to my dad a year or two later.
They look fantastic. And is that original paint on the 69?
It is.
I wouldn't touch it. It looks great the way it is. You know, these headlights are incredibly difficult to find too. I restored one of these a few years ago, and I had to pay, I think, like $300-400 just for the headlight.
think this is.
Yeah, this is what they call a triple
this
register
is a time.
thermograph.
This is a Timex, right? It'll have a battery.
Oh, there's a.
So after much picking and deliberating, we came up with a price that worked for both of us, and I got the it's a 100-year-old Ives train set. We got that. I got a whole bunch of other antiques too, so really good haul today. Once I get back to the shop, I'll unpack and show you guys what there was, but yeah, a good combination of wristwatches and antiques and collectibles. So yeah, very, very happy with today's find, and goes to show you can find some pretty cool stuff within 20 minutes of your home if you know where to look. So back to the shop we go, we'll do a little unpacking and show you guys what there was. So I got a pretty healthy collection of vintage oil cans this morning. You probably saw them in the fella's garage. The one I'm probably most excited about, well, there's a few in here that are really cool, but this Reliance can is circa 1930s. It's in really good shape, needs a little bit of cleaning, but it is full. It's never been opened. It's full antifreeze. Of course, oil cans are a big part of our business. We always have a big wall of them back there, and really nice to find them out in the wild, out in somebody's garage just hanging out. In fact, most of these cans are still full of oil. Royal Light is in perfect condition. It's full, same with the Havoline. There's an early Mobil oil with the Pegasus on it. And these are generally all Canadian Imperial quarts. You can see the difference in size. That's an American US quart, it says right on it. But the reason I picked this one up is it's early and it's a synthetic. This is a metal can, probably 19, it's a soldered seam. So this is quite old actually. But synthetic's a little, unusual. We didn't have a lot of synthetic oil up until recently, so it's a can I have not seen before myself. Maybe you guys watching have seen them all over the place. I haven't seen them too much. Now this train set that I ended up purchasing, this is close to 100 years old. This is a very early standard gauge Ives set. And we've got the 3 passenger cars. So the observation, the buffet, and this might be baggage or parlor car. So I've got the 3 cars, we've got the engine, which is super heavy. They weren't messing around back in the old days. Ives railway lines, and this is, again, standard gauge. It's quite a bit bigger than Lionel. We got all the track, transformer, and some accessories as well. So I'm going to start pulling these guys out. There's a really nice semaphore. All tin, very, very early piece. And the buildings are quite exciting too. So I'm going to start unpacking and go through these boxes. And looking at the detail of this early tin train station, you can see that there's a ladies' waiting room and a men's waiting room. They were not allowed to be in the same areas. I guess it was, you would want to see men and women mingling out in public. So this is a very early piece. So getting this early train set with a lot of the original buildings is just fantastic. Plus, I even got an early live steam engine, and I'm gonna have to research what name and what company this is. But you would have hooked up little pulleys, which is actually still on there, the pulley's still on it, to things like this little saw, or in that case, somebody out of Meccano built a little generator set, so they could probably power little lights and things that they had. So this would spin, create electricity, and power little light bulbs, maybe for the train set. So really, really neat. Also, one of the other things that was pretty nifty, I of course have my Ghostbuster Ambulance, and he had this on the wall, and he was a kind enough man to give this to me. It's going to go in my garage at home. It's not going to be for sale. It's a pretty heavy duty sign, came from an old hospital. But what a cool thing to have him at my house now. It'll match my car. And look at the detail on this thing. I mean, even the little door handles work on it. They just don't make toys like this anymore. And this has got to be early 1900s as well. Now I got the whole platform set up, time to get the train in place. And even laying it out in the store like this, it takes up about 8 feet of shelf length. It's a pretty big set. In fact, the fellow I got it from said that when he set the track up, it took up 3 4x8 sheets of plywood, and that was just for a basic layout. So this was a massive set. And you probably saw that we were looking at this in his garage. The reason I got this, these are the original oil spouts you would use for cans like this. So you can see how that one's got a hole punched in it. Well, this would basically clip right in. And that's what you would use to pour your oil out, right out of the can. Now, of course, we don't use that type anymore. They're plastic cans that are built with a spout. But for collectors, certain ones of these are a little bit more collectible than others. There's different styles. There's some that are smaller for different types of bottles. So I'm gonna have to go through and lay these guys out. But wow, I'm gonna be set for inventory on these old spouts for quite some time. Other items included this very early Transcanada Airlines luggage bag. Very nifty little Northern Alberta Sports Car Club badge, probably from the 60s, I'd say, 50s or 60s. But this would have been on the front of your, if you had a Triumph or an MG or something, and it looks like the spinner off the middle of a wheel, a knockoff spinner. So yeah, I'm hoping to find a vintage sports car for myself this summer, so if I do, that might just look great on the front of it. For some other stuff I haven't taken out of the car yet, but a couple other little handy oilers. Old vintage MPC model kit, Cobra 427. That's a big one too. I think it's 1/16 scale, so that's going to be a big guy. A couple signs. These would have been tire rack signs that went on the base, and then the tire would sit in between. So they're, you know, partially there. And this is a neat item. This is off of a really old bus, and I can tell it's out of Winnipeg because I lived in Winnipeg for a while. And what you would do is you would turn this little dial here, and it rolls it to a different stop. So there's a canvas inside, and there's your next stop, Arlington, and it goes on. So there's a big reel inside. Heavy metal. That thing is probably, I'm going to say 30s or 40s. It's quite old. It's got some real age to it. But if a person's into transportation or collecting, that's also another cool item. I also got this really cool 1960s Duesenberg Model Kit. Now, it's made of metal, a metal kit in 1/18 scale, a very popular size, and I'm sure it'll find a collector. The Firestone tire sign, well, we got that off the wall, and it turned out it was, in fact, double-sided. So this probably was a flange at one time that was cut down. Still a neat piece for a garage. And as we went through some of the smaller boxes, there were some Transcanada Airline pins. Now, these were owned by a pilot for his service, so 20-year award, 15-year award, and many others. There was also some World War II pins from the Royal Canadian Air Force. So I'll have to go through these guys and see exactly what I have, but there was a whole box of pins and badges. Now I have to do some research and see what it all is. There were some other fine jewelry and some sterling silver and some watches that I'm really going to have to sort through and see what they are. Some of the pocket watches I got, we weren't sure if they're working. I did a little tinkering on them today, and sure enough, did get them going, and some were a little higher quality. So 17 jewel is a better watch. Some of these were 17 jewel and up, so some good pieces. And the little wristwatch I got, no, it is not a Timex. It was made by Burke's, which was the store name, but in fact this watch is made by a company called Enicar, which in turn is a very high-end watch. So very fortunate. I'm going to open the back on it so you can see what the inside looks like. And although this watch says Burke's on the dial, which is a high-end retailer here in Canada, this is in fact, and I've taken the back off, an Enicar chronograph, which has the same movement in it as the early Paul Newman Daytona. So very good quality watch. Was a nice surprise to open the back and see that. And yeah, in very good working condition. So we're going to put a new strap on that and hopefully find a new buyer for it. Smaller ladies' cocktail watches have fallen out of fashion, but some can be very high quality. And I'm going to check with my diamond tester to see if this one, in fact, has real diamonds on it. If I'm lucky, it will. And although they're small, it'll add a little bit to the value. So we're going to check it out, see if it is. And so just when I thought I had everything cleaned up at the shop, I've got another load of things to put away, but some really interesting items. Another good score today, oil cans, train sets, good finds. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can check us out online at curiosityedmonton.ca. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well. But thanks again for tuning in on another adventure, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.